I love Instagram. I do. I love the Instagram grid. I love the Instagram newsfeed. I even love Instagram ads. I do. I buy from those ads all the time. I freaking love them. But where I really get stressed out is in trying to come up with daily posts for the Instagram feed. It really is too much. And we wanted to ask the question, is too much posting on Instagram? Is there a way to cut your Instagram posting in half and still get the same results? Well, we're going to dig into that data today with our social media scientist, and we're going to start right now. It's the Social Media Lab.
Are you ready to use science to bust some myths in the social media ecosystem? Welcome to the Social Media Lab Live, brought to you by Agorapulse, where our social media scientists experiment on real accounts to crack the code on social media success for your business.
Type 5 to subscribe to the show.
Now your hosts, Owen Video and Scott Ayres.
Hey, welcome back to the Social Media Lab Live, where social marketers like you get to bust the myths, rumors, and legends in the social media marketing industry. I am your host, MC Owen Video, here with the #1 social media scientist, Scott Ayres, and we are live on Facebook and on YouTube every Wednesday at 9 a.m. PST, and you can join our community when you give me 5. That's right. Type 5 into the comment section now, and that will give you insider access to the Social Media Lab Lounge, where you can get private Facebook group access for other social media nerds just like you. Hey, hang on, I've lost my place in the script. Today, our show is powered by Agorapulse, the #1 social media management tool for social marketers and small business. Do you want to schedule posts, respond to comments, and get more customers all from one easy-to-use interface? GetAgorapulseNow.com is your social media management solution. Toss your old software away and start your free trial today at GetAgorapulseNow.com. That's GetAgorapulseNow.com. Hey, so good to be with you here again. It's another Wednesday morning, and we are talking about how to cut your Instagram posts in half and still get the same results. But before we jump in, Scott, so good to see you. The hair is looking amazing today.
And I like all the hair behind you too. So it's like we got like 4 versions of the hair going on screen there to send. So that was pretty fun. Yeah, good to be. It feels like sometimes that week is like 2 weeks. You know what I mean? It's like,
I know.
We talk typically on Wednesdays, except for, on Facebook Message. So it's always good to hop on the show with you. As we're like multitasking, it's the funniest thing.
Totally.
You watch it start. I'm like this the whole time. You're over there doing your thing, and I'm over here starting watch parties and sharing and getting mini chat going. So
yeah, no, it's so true, man. We are doing all sorts of stuff. Like right before the show is kind of when I'm putting together the opening slides. And if you guys notice, we tried something new today. We did something new with slides on the screen as opposed to putting the graphic images. I want to know if you guys even noticed that, because we're always trying to like improve the quality of the show. Right. Scott's got like the chatbot thing, and after the show, we're analyzing data and seeing how all the data worked out. But Scott, you've got an interesting weekend coming up. Like, we're always on the go, and you've got some cool things coming up this weekend. You're going to stay on the go, right?
Yeah, I fly out of Waco at 5 a.m. tomorrow, which I hate flying at 5 a.m. But I'm heading to Portland, but not the West Coast Portland, the East Coast Portland, Maine, for the Agents of Change Summit.
Yeah,
a conference that's done by Rich Brooks. I've never been that far east or north in the U.S., and so that'll be a first. The weather is supposed to be like, lows in the 50s, highs in the 70s. So it's like the perfect day for me.
Oh, that sounds great.
And it's like high lobster season. It's like,
oh my gosh,
you get lobster right here, and this fat
all
boy
the
likes
perks.
Lobster, and so
all the perks.
I know. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about it.
Wouldn't it be great if they paid you in lobster? If it was just like, hey Scott, come on out, we'll take care of room and board plus 17 lobsters. Can you imagine going to the airport with a bag, with a bag full of?
Especially if they're live.
Yeah.
Lobster.
With like a big aquarium, you're like walking up with a big aquarium. Can I check this? You know, like
those cages.
Abs-
Remember the Seinfeld episode when they went up like to Connecticut and they tried to
Yes,
lobster George
yes.
trying to catch lobster.
My dad was a lobsterman, you know, and he got all mad at Kramer. Dude, I was just on Hulu last night, and I did the yada 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 mix on Hulu to just pick a Seinfeld episode for me. How many of you guys watch Seinfeld? I'd love to hear from you in the comment section. Probably only a few, but you know, I grew up on that show. I could still like remember so many episodes, and want to say what's up to Mandy Joe Reindage watching us on the Agora Pulse page. Also want to say what's up to Amber, Dawn, Lee, Matt Adams, David Barrett, Buffalo, Rob Reese, and Ron Williams. Hey, if you guys want to join us, then type 5 in the comment section. If you're watching this on a watch party or on the Owen video cross post, typing 5 won't work. You've got to go to the main video on the Agora Pulse page, but just type 5 anyway. I'll come and I'll find you, and I'll make sure that you get the links to join us. Want to give a special shout out as well to Lily Tree watching us on YouTube. And if you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube already, you know, jump over to YouTube and subscribe. We would love to see more of you. I'm going over to the Owen video page. We've got a couple different watch parties going on today, so I'm trying to get all the videos sort of organized here and saying hi to everybody. What's that?
Douglas Carr just said in a watch party, I think in the lab, he said it's not pronounced lobster, it's pronounced lobster.
Lobster, like a Kennedy. Want to say what's up to Jason Shea watching us from the West Coast. Claudia Santiago also logging in from, and Marcus Harris joining us on the Owen video page. We've got a strong episode today, so I'm glad that you guys are here. We're going to be talking about Instagram, and more specifically, we're going to be talking about how to cut your posting time in half. Now, before we dig into the topic, I want to say, where the heck is Sarah Hecker and Naomi Nakashima?
Sarah's there. I see her.
Is she here? I feel like it's not even a show until they're here, because they join us every single week, and we love to have you guys here. And by the way, if you do want to join us every single week, type 5 into the comment section. We'll make sure you get put on our chat bot, and you can stay alert there. Scott, talk to us today about our topic, cutting our Instagram posting in half, because for a guy like me, I love Instagram. I struggle to find a good piece of content every single day to post. So I'm very interested in why you guys came up with this theory as sort of a testable hypothesis.
We've tested all kinds of weird things on Instagram, so we always want to test even more. But sometimes, like, you post a certain way for a very long time, and then, like you said, you run out of content. Yeah. Or you're just wondering, am I posting too much? Am I hurting myself in the algorithm? And there's a quote on that I found from Instagram. Instagram actually says this. They say that they do not downrank people for posting frequency. Mm-hmm. So they don't really care how much you, but there's no advantage to them in the algorithm just based on pure posting quantity. So that was kind of interesting. It's more about the engagement. And then I found this Forbes article from Neil Patel, and I love Neil Patel.
Neil Patel's great.
He's very data focused, which is what I really love. And I actually use his A/B test calculator for all of our tests. I use it all the time. It's quick, easy to figure out if it's statistically significant. I'm going to read a quote. So if I'm looking over at the other screen, you know what I'm looking at.
Great.
He says, and I want to make sure I quote him right. If you want to maximize engagement and generate followers, you can start posting on Instagram 10, 15, 20 times per day. There's no negative effect to your Instagram account. That is, and this is why we decided to test this, that is until you change frequency. If you make a habit of posting several times a day and then transition to only a few times per week, you will start to lose followers.
Wow.
And generate less engagement. So his whole thing was, if you're going to post a certain way, stick to it for the rest of your life of the account, unless you're going to sell the account. He says from his data that once you change drastically, you're going to see a drop in your reach and your engagement. So that's worth testing, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's okay. So that provides me with a little bit of a challenge, because if you post every day, then you're basically telling Instagram that you plan to post every single day. And actually, YouTube works really similarly. YouTube wants to see you sort of create a broadcast schedule. And I would actually say that Instagram often, it actually follows like a YouTube algorithm more so than it follows a Facebook algorithm. And so it makes a lot of sense that they're looking for rhythm. The challenge is then is like, what should your rhythm be? You know, and I'd love to hear from you guys in the audience. I want to hear from Amber Dawn Lee, Matt Adams, Rob Reese, Ron Williams. Ed Weinberg is just joining us now. Naomi Fabian is out there. Let's talk about, like, how often do you post on Instagram right now? Do you post like whenever you can, or do you try to have some type of schedule in what you're doing? Because Scott, and are we talking as well, Scott, about stories, or are we just talking about the grid, the news feed?
Yeah, we're talking about posts that are being the main feed. That's what we're talking about. Not talking about stories.
Okay. All right, so I'd love to hear from the audience. How often are you guys posting? Because I definitely try to post every day, but I don't get to post every single day. Sometimes the day just gets away from me. So I would love to hear.
That's why you should use a scheduling tool. You know, there's one right above us named that schedules to Instagram, so you don't have to remember it. I mean,
what?
I know, it's crazy.
You know, here's the thing. You're absolutely right. In fact, we do a lot of scheduling on Agorapulse, but not on Instagram.
Why is that?
You know, part of that has been just because we already had a workflow, right? And the workflow was from my phone. Vanna, my VA, who's in Pakistan, and she's fantastic. You know, Vanna was posting on Instagram, but you know, we were losing that personal touch. We were losing sort of like that Owen needs to write this, you know, because it became more corporate, and that's not what we're trying to create on Instagram. So we do need, in fact, to start using the Instagram tool, and today would be a good time to start that. So, you know, if I'm looking at going from every day, Scott, to every other day, you know, talk to us about your hypothesis. Talk to us about the study and what you learned from examining your post frequency.
Yeah, so what we wanted to do in our hypothesis on this one was cutting the amount of Instagram posts in half, you know, will have some sort of negative impact on your reach and engagement. Based off what Neil was saying, we should see a lower amount of engagement and a lower amount of people seeing our posts. So that's kind of what we hypothesized on this one. And how we tested that is I used five, y'all can type 5, remember, key word there. We used 5 different Instagram accounts. And what I did is these accounts typically have been posting a random amount. You know, it was once a day, twice a day, 3 a day. There was no consistency. So what I did is I post twice per day on this test for 10 days and alternated it once in the morning and once in the evening. And that's kind of an example of what the schedule looked like using Agorapulse. And you'll see there, what I do like to do a lot of times is I test multiple things at once, but I'd use the schedule from a previous test. I think we already talked about here.
Yeah.
We were talking about short posts versus long posts. So that's kind of what the schedule looked like. I just kind of alternated between morning and night, did that for 10 days on these 5 different accounts. And then once we were done with that, we switched over to just once per day as opposed to twice per day.
Oh, wow.
Same 5 counts. 10 days on it as well. And then to kind of take out the anomaly of timing, I alternated. One day was morning, one day was night, one day was morning. That way we still hit both those time slots during that time period.
Okay, that's huge. Did we show the hypothesis, Melissa, on screen? Did the hypothesis come up? So here's the hypothesis, guys, and we want to urge you to grab a screenshot of what's on your screen right now. Share it on your social media channels. Just double click on your phone or take a quick screenshot. Our hypothesis today is that cutting the amount of Instagram posts published in half will have a negative impact on impressions or engagement. Now, I want to go to George Demanis, who is a big fan of the show, and we're a big fan of George Demanis. And he just recently commented that he has not posted in 6 months. I took a 6-month break from posting on Instagram. Haven't lost anyone. So that's an interesting sort of counter to the.
I would say one, is that a personal account or a business account?
Okay.
And losing followers, I mean, that doesn't really, no one's going to unfollow you because you haven't posted. I would be curious to compare his engagement once he does start posting again.
How many people join back up again? Yeah.
Yeah. What's his engagement and his reach once he starts posting again? That would be a really interesting test, George. So
yeah, it is an interesting game because, you know, you might post, you know, I'll do like one personal post. I mean, about my family on my, it's a business. It's Owen Video Business on Instagram. You guys can follow me on Instagram at Owen Video. I do a lot of stories on Instagram too, and I use a kind of a high-end camera to make them really crispy and fun. But, you know, we post, I'll post something about my family, and I'll get, you know, like 150. And that tends to be kind of like a good number, right?
Right.
Where I'm getting 4% from hashtags, like not a lot from hashtags at all. But my audience is engaged, okay? At least more, that's as engaged as my audience gets. Then I'll post something about business and it'll drop 60%. Right? And I don't know, it's hard to tell. Like, is that because I posted about business or is that because I posted 2 days later? So I'm really interested to see sort of some of the data because believe it or not, folks, I actually haven't seen this study yet. I'm coming to the table. My job was to write a good intro for the show, and I actually haven't seen the data yet.
And make a cool PowerPoint. You know.
Yeah, exactly. I waste my time on fun things, right, as opposed to real meat and data. Sarah Hecker is saying, I have content queued on Agorapulse for weekly IG updates. I love it. Naomi Nakashima is saying, I try to have a regular posting schedule. She aims for once a day, but I can't always do it. Same thing here. How many of you guys aim for once a day, but you can't always do it? Right? Say yes in the comment section. Let me know. Sometimes I have lots of thoughts. This is Mandy Joe. Mandy Joe is saying, sometimes I have lots of thoughts that I can schedule out, and sometimes I just go blank. Same here. I'll tell you, Scott, do you ever run into this where it's like you might even have images to post, but you just like don't even know what to say?
Yeah, and I think that sometimes depends on your goal too. A personal account is so different than, you know, an account you're running from a restaurant or a bar or a local store. So I mean, for you, I understand. Like you were saying, like you posted your personal stuff and you get a lot of engagement. Then you post a business, and everybody's like,
yeah,
forget it. They want to know Owen.
Right.
Your business post might be best suited for an ad as opposed to just your feed. Let your life be in the stories and your posts. But when you do business, you may have to just advertise towards people. But
yeah,
you kind of do that.
Yeah, and you know, like I was just watching Zaylee Barkley, and if you guys know Zaylee, tag her right now. She deserves to be tagged in this. She is running a personal brand Instagram page, but then also driving to a newer sort of business brand. And let me just tell you, this girl knows how to rock Instagram. I was so engaged. Douglas Skinny Bones Jones Carr is saying, I post when I can, but I don't want to. Is that what the whole thing says?
I only bother folks with crap, is what he says.
Yeah, no, that's good. And you know, this is what I keep hearing at like from Instagram experts on stages, right? Because Scott, you're at conferences all the time. I'm at conferences all the time. It's kind of like, don't post because it's Tuesday. Post when you have something to say.
Right.
Now, what we're about to examine is that may not actually be helpful for you. You actually do need to have some type of schedule. And so, Scott, you showed us that you're posting from 5 different Instagram accounts in order to test this hypothesis, and you varied those posts day and night, and you got some variance in there. So now bring us back to the study and talk to us about what types of posts were you posting? I mean, was this like, there are these beauty pics, were this motivational quotes? Talk to us about the content you were posting.
Yeah, I'm using a couple of different accounts that I've been working on for months now, trying to build up a following. And these are more on the entertainment side, but there is business aspects of it because I can run ads to them and things like that. But I'm testing on a page that's all about semi-trucks. My dad was a trucker, and I'm a big fan of trucks. I actually ran a trucking company for a while. So I've had this account for a long, long time. I'm constantly taking pictures and posting. I'm not putting the names of these accounts out there, by the way, because I'm not looking for people who aren't interested to follow it. So we blur them out. But yeah, so I did one on trucks. I've got a page that's motivational quote driven, the positive quotes and stuff that we use. We have one on fitness. And I love the fitness one because you mentioned Skinny Mini Doug Carr.
Yeah.
I've both. had gastric sleeve surgery in the last 2 years, and we're both literally, half the men we used to be. So I'm excited for Doug, and he's excited for me. We're running 5Ks, all kinds of stuff. So
hey guys, just give me a second, guys, and like bomb this video and just give it up for Doug and for Scott. I've watched their journey to get control of their health, and I just freaking love it. And we should all be supporting each other, not just in business, but in our physical health and in our mental health. And so just give it up, just like bomb these gentlemen and anybody else that you know that has improved their health. Give them a tag, give them a shout out, because we really want to support that.
Totally. And so yeah, it's been a fun journey. I keep joking that Doug and I need to start a podcast that's like two former fat guy marketers or something like that.
It's got a nice ring to it. Yeah, it's got a nice ring to it.
So anyway, back to the study. We did a fitness page. We have a page dedicated to motorcycles, and we have a page dedicated to animals, just having fun with cute animal pictures. And something you'll notice on every time I run these tests on this, I'm doing a couple of things. There's no hashtags in the post. There's no location tags. There's no other users being tagged. And these aren't shared to stories. These aren't running ads. I want this 100% an organic test.
Yeah.
And so we make sure that we take all those sort of anomalies out. So that's basically what we did. I always like to wait at least a week before we pull any data. The way we can kind of squeeze all the juice out of it that we can before we gather that back.
Okay, so those are the post types, and we're going to go into the data and what you discovered. So you guys have seen the hypothesis, you've seen the posting schedule day and night, and we've seen the kind of posts that we're going to be posting. Scott's going to share with us some of the data, but first, we've got a couple questions from our audience, and I want to make sure that we get to these. Chrissy Buck is asking, did I just see a big-ass semi-truck?
Yes, you did.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. And Scott has an entire Instagram page for, semi-truck folks. And let me tell you, I used to rent a room from a guy who owned a semi-truck. And let me tell you, he was like a car enthusiast, only about his trucks. Really interesting. In fact, I've got another friend right now, same kind of thing. Him and his dad own a thing. Anyway, I love it. Amber Dawn Lee, who's a friend from the video community, is saying, is it better to have a business account or a personal account? Scott Ayres, what do you think?
100% business. There's no reason not to. Even if you're doing it as a person, you at least get the insights whenever you do want to do something business related with it. So if you just have a personal account, you never get any insights. You can just manually go look at likes and stuff, but you don't get all that insight. You don't get the impression count. You don't get where they came from, all that sort of stuff. So for me, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't, unless it really is just you posting pictures of your lunch,
which I would
George
appreciate.
Does a lot.
I would appreciate.
George Demanis food. Yeah. You see, actually, George does have, and I'm giving George some props here because he's adding some good comments. He's actually got a blog, and George, feel free to post the link. He's got a cool blog he started about, talking about food. He's like a food, what's the word I'm looking for?
Enthusiast, foodie.
Yeah, he just kind of going into talking about restaurants and evaluating their food. So it's a pretty cool.
I love it. I love the discipline, George, involved in that, because I think we've all had ideas like that. I'm going to create a page on tennis. You know what I mean? But when it comes down to actually doing it, like it's hard to do that. Naomi Nakashima is saying insights are your lifeblood. So important, so important. And I'm learning so much about how to get more traffic from other hashtags, from finding the right hashtags. Jason Shea is asking a great question. He says, we target different audiences, teachers, parents, and therapists. Okay, so Jason Shea has a business that provides stimuli type products for children with ADHD and autism on the spectrum. Okay, so that's his business. And I only know that because I know him personally. He targets different audiences, teachers, therapists, and parents. He's planning to create separate Instagram accounts to gear towards each demographic. Is that a good idea or not? I have my opinions. Scott, what's your opinion?
That's a lot to keep up with. I mean, for one, that's just my first thing. It's 3 different things to try to spin those plates. You're probably what'll happen is all 3 of them will suffer.
Yeah, I agree.
So I would rather have one just do really, really well, and your audience, if it's all the same central idea, your audience will get it. Maybe you tailor them a little bit, the post, but you can run ads tailored harder towards a demographic. But yeah, that would be confusing if someone came, and try to find you and they see 3 pages. I would
agree. Like make your Instagram page about the children you serve. Right? And then I would say pepper in language. You say like Monday we're going to gear towards teachers, Wednesday we're going to gear towards parents, and Friday we're going to gear towards therapists, right? But you're always bringing it back to supporting children on the spectrum, right? Period, right? That's because that language will attract the parent, the teacher, or the therapist because they're the ones interacting. So imagine the therapist who goes to Instagram to look at recipes, fitness photos, and maybe some mommy blog stuff. She stumbles across one of your hashtags, one of your posts, and she's interested because she serves kids with autism, right? So that's where I would go with you, is one page where you have these 3 sort of avatars in mind, and you're just kind of reaching out to them there. So great questions, and of course,
yeah. And I would say, I did this something similar when I had a bounce house business for about 5 or 6 years in our area.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to target the towns, the bigger cities, and so I created like 5 different Instagram accounts, 5 different Facebook pages, and was just targeted to spacewalk of Waco and spacewalk of Copper's Cove. And then it got really confusing when people went to our website and it's all the same link, same phone number. People are messaging me on every page, and finally I was like, I got to merge all those together.
Yeah.
It was so confusing. It was too hard to keep. And then what happened is I wouldn't post one of them for like 3 weeks and go, oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
So great points there. And of course, we want to give a big shout out to Carrie Barker, who says, I was 345 pounds and now I'm down to 238 pounds with more to go. Diabetes will be beat. So we love that. Do we have the celebration sound for you, Carrie? Thank you for sharing that part of your journey with us. And for those of you just joining us, I want to post a link to the YouTube stream in the comment section so that you guys can go over to our YouTube channel and subscribe if you want to. You got to see the crystal clarity of this stream on YouTube. I'm just looking at it. This stream is crystal clear on YouTube, and it's really nice to see that because we are shooting in 4K. Okay, let's go back to the study now. So we've got a hypothesis that changing the Instagram posting schedule will hurt the Instagram engagement. You've selected 5 accounts and you've scheduled posts for day and night for 10 days in varying time zones to get those posts out there in the test. We've seen the type of posts that you're going to be posting. Talk to us about the data. What did you discover then? For how long did you run this, by the way?
Well, it was 10 days with twice a day. 10 days was once a day. And then we waited a week after the final post to pull all the data. So
okay,
that's kind of how it lined up.
Okay, great. So talk to us about the data.
Yeah, the data. So I don't know if we have a graphic for that or not because we didn't make one in the blog. But it kind of came out to it was almost dead even, no matter which one we looked at. So let's say, for example, the likes. We went twice per day and we averaged all 5 accounts together. There we go. Good job, Melissa. Thank you. We averaged the likes together. 2 per day, we had 136.84. 1 per day, 136.08. That's basically dead even. If we move over to comments were dead even as well. No difference really. That's not even barely a percentage difference of any sort at 0.9 to 0.92.
Right.
And then we look at reach, which reach is really what I was looking for more than anything. Reach was a tad bit lower twice per day as opposed to once per day, which again, almost dead even, but also goes against what Neil Patel had said. Neil had said, if you switch your posting frequency dramatically, you're going to see a loss in reach and a loss in engagement. And we didn't see that. We see basically an identical amount of reach, an identical amount of engagement when we switch from twice per day to once per day.
Yeah. So what's your conclusion then? Is your conclusion then that maybe was this inconclusive, or where did you go with this?
Yeah, to me it shows us, at least for the accounts that we use, using 5. What we did too is we took out the highest performing and the lowest performing from every account, just in case there was an anomaly. And actually the numbers got closer when we did that. They got even closer than what those numbers there are. So to me, this says it's not a big deal if you change posting frequency, because there was no impact for us on our test moving from twice per day to once per day. And that's encouraging to me as a business person or someone who does Instagram, that I don't have to feel like I'm shackled to,
a posting schedule
strategy for the rest of my life. Your audience will kind of adjust to it, is what that says. And we talked about YouTube a minute ago. Tim Schmoyer, we love Tim. He had a good video, and you have to go find on his YouTube channel, or somebody tagged him and make him post it. He was actually interviewing a guy from YouTube talking about posting strategy. And this guy from YouTube says he only recommends once per day because too much, your engagement overall goes down. So I think it's all about your audience, and all about expectations. But I like the fact that I don't feel like I've got to post twice per day to these accounts now.
It's overwhelming.
I'm still going to keep that same audience engaged because you run out of ideas.
That is, it's overwhelming. I think, and I'd love to hear from you guys in the audience. What are some of the big Instagram accounts that you follow, or even the hashtags that you follow that you really enjoy? Because I know that I got a couple hashtags. Like I follow something like VFX film production, and it's like behind the scenes stuff, and I love that because I can save that video in a collection and then come home and watch it with the kids, right? And that's something that we can enjoy social media together, right? Because largely the kids don't have social media access. Who do you guys follow? What hashtags do you guys follow? Put them in the comment section. Tag them if you can. And we'd love to kind of share in that with you. What's a hashtag that you follow, Scott?
I'm really bad about not following hashtags.
Oh, really?
But if I were, I mean, typically for me, because we talked about earlier, the fitness stuff, I follow a lot of the fitness guys, and I follow a lot of people who have also had gastric sleeve surgery. So VSG is a big one. VSG Bros,
that's cool.
The VSG is the abbreviation for the surgery.
Yeah,
and there's a bunch of guys who we kind of support each other and help each
that's
other
cool.
out. So I follow that personal stuff on my account. Personally.
That's cool.
Now for business, I might go in for Agorapulse and search social media marketing, Instagram tips to see what people are talking about.
But you don't actually follow them, and they're regularly appearing in your newsfeed?
Not really well.
Yeah.
No,
I love it. Daniel Adam Willis is saying motivation, business, entrepreneur. I follow a lot of those as well. At least similar, like motivational quotes and what. I'd love to find more like live video and video news, but it's just not big on Instagram yet. Like when this whole, Facebook released some new Facebook Live features, and I didn't get any alerts on that. In fact, I found out about that from Mike Alton, who is the man. So thanks for posting that. Daniel Adam Willis is also asking a question, and he wasn't here in the beginning, so Scott, I'm going to have you answer this. Was there a variety of niches tested? So just review that with us.
Right. Yeah, we tested 5 different accounts that were in the trucking industry, motivational quotes, animals, motors. What did I say? I missed one. Fitness would be the other one. So kind of a mix, all kind of in the entertainment / business category, but those were the 5 that we did.
Well, I'll tell you, I would say that if you're in business, you are in the entertainment business, because the demand from the marketplace is that you must entertain me when creating awareness, you must entertain me when creating engagement, and you must entertain me when you're presenting an offer. Then you've got to entertain while you're fulfilling the offer. Like there's entertainment, I think, all down the lines. That doesn't necessarily mean you got to be a shticky kind of guy. But look at us. I mean, we're talking about some pretty real social media stats. You're wearing an orange wig, and I do a comedy bit in the opening. This is part of it. I guess as part of keeping the audience engaged and stopping the scroll. In Facebook. So I think that there's a lot to be said about entertaining all through the funnel. Douglas Carr, who we love to death, is saying, remember that Neil Patel is often mass marketing. It's true. He's reaching millions of people, and he's playing the percentages. Many small businesses need higher conversion rates, higher value per customer, and better retention. Some great points there. The small business operates on a slightly different level, and that's why I love your studies, Scott, because your studies, I think, really are like some of the inflatable stuff. It's really more like a local business. But your thoughts on that, Scott?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's true. Neil does look at giant, media, giant data sets, and that's okay to do. But I do. That's what we've always done at the lab. I like taking those big data sets and then taking a bite out of them and seeing how we can actually apply it in the real world. For those of us who are in the trenches running social media for different size accounts and different types of businesses, what works on these big overarching 500 million posts data sets may not actually apply to someone with 500 followers.
Yeah.
I like kind of looking at it on a smaller scale.
So I'd love to hear from you guys on a scale of 1, 2, and 3. Where does Instagram fall on your priority list, right? Is it 1, 2, or 3? 1 being top priority, right? Instagram is one of our key platforms, or we want it to be, right? Not necessarily that you're getting the most engagement there, but that you are, that it's a priority for you. I'd love to hear from you guys. Is it 1, 2, or 3 on there? Daniel Adam Willis is making some great comments. He says, when IGTV gets rolling, there will be more Instagram stuff. IGTV is actually now a part of our strategy for Instagram, right? Because you can have your IGTV posts appear in your grid and on the news feed, and we have some new designs coming out that will be more engaging on there. So I'm really excited about leveraging IGTV, because with IGTV you could actually be uploading your long form videos. You could actually be uploading your YouTube videos to IGTV, right? And then the thumbnail for that, or the cover image for that, is what would go in your grid. And better yet is the first 1 second of the video. The very first second of the video, you could put an image in the very first second of the video, and that could be your thumbnail. So you can control your thumbnail or how you appear in the grid with some tricks like that, right? And Evan Carmichael, our good buddy, is doing a lot of great stuff. So Mandy Joe is saying it's a 3 for her in terms of priority. Christina Coretta is saying it's a 2. Claudia Santiago is saying it's a 2. So that's interesting. I thought that we would see more 1s. That it's a top priority. Scott, from your point of view, how important is an Instagram strategy when, from a small business perspective, you're trying to get customers? And Douglas Carr, I'd love to hear from you on this too, like industry-wide, like where should it fall? You've got Facebook, you've got Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, right? Where should a LinkedIn or a Instagram strategy fall in?
I mean, I think it's high. I mean, with the way stories are working right now, I think your feed is important still, even though stories are kind of the hot thing. I think having a presence there is good, but you are going to have to act differently. Agora Pulse, we struggle with this a lot. Like when we talked mainly about business, on there, we didn't do very well. So we're kind of our Instagram account for Agora Pulse, not Agora Pulse Lab, but for Agora Pulse, we tend to we're focused on the people.
Yeah.
The people of the brand. And so we're doing a lot of brand stories, a lot of stories about people within the company, events that we're at. We don't sell real hard in our normal posts. Now we do run ads. Like I'm running ads right now on Instagram. And so we are for the app as well. So I think it just depends on what your goal is. I think you can make a personal presence on Instagram and have people kind of be drawn to you. You mentioned Evan Carmichael, who I honestly did not know. I'm not a guy who follows a lot of people.
Yeah, totally. That's pretty common in our space.
Yeah, I didn't know Evan until Video Marketing World when you and I were at in Dallas like a month ago. And when I ate dinner with him, like, man, this guy really got some cool stuff. I had to go follow him. I'm like, oh,
he's like a freaky genius.
And his Instagram stories, his Instagram feed are fabulous. And I love following. He's given a lot of insight, a lot of behind the scenes, and he's very consistent. Sean Cannell's one too. Very consistent on his Instagram stories. So you kind of I've been following them now both for about a month. And now I know what to expect from them. And they do sell to me, but they've earned that right.
Yeah.
After about 10 stories of just showing what's going on behind the scenes and kind of what they're working on. Okay, here's an ad, to go swipe up and buy the product. Okay, cool. I'm not bothered by it. Now, if all I ever posted or all they ever posted was buy, I didn't follow them. I'd move on. So I think it's got to be important. But it's all about that brand and about that face. I look at
the feed too. Like, do you guys go and you look at the grid before following somebody? Because I'll find like a cool post from a hashtag that I follow. I'm more interested in hashtags and follow. In fact, I unfollow people on a regular basis, right? It's part of the strategy, right? Like and part of that is because in the very beginning we were like following other people's followers we're trying to do that thing, and that didn't really work out. And so I'm still connected to these people that have like 26 followers and never post, right? And so going through our feed and like unfollowing some of them, but I'm very careful with who I follow because I want to enjoy my Instagram feed. Like oddly enough, if I see something in the feed that's like really intimate, like we just had a baby or I just got married and I don't know those people, I almost feel like I walked in on them in the shower. It's just like, oh my gosh, like I don't want to share this intimacy with you. Like I don't know you well enough to see, your wife nursing a baby. You know what I mean? On my Instagram feed, I may not know them at all, and so I unfollow accounts where I just don't know them and they're posting personal stuff. But what I do is I follow hashtags. And then in those hashtags, if I like the post, I'll go see who posted it, but I always look at their grid. And I'm like, are they posting good content regularly? Or was this like a diamond in the rough, right? How many of you guys look at the grid before following somebody? Put grid in the comment section if you do, or just type no or something like that. And by the way, George Demanis and Daniel Adam Willis are just posting. There is like blog-worthy stuff happening in the comment section. So I would urge you guys to, follow those conversations. Christine Gritman is saying, for my main account, I largely follow local hashtags. That's something I haven't thought about doing. But hashtags are most interesting to me on a more personal, house-related level. I find a lot of people here around special interest hashtags. I think like Naomi mentioned some writing hashtags and things like that. Mandy Joe saying she doesn't look at the grid at all. Sarah Hecker is saying 9 grid. Daniel Adam is saying grid all caps. So it's like Lily Tree is saying grid. Oh yeah. Christine Gritman is saying grid. Anybody else in the watch parties here? Alan Graham Metcalf is logging in from the UK, and he says, Owen, I love your feed. Stoked to have you here, my man. Nicole Sheffer is saying, I look at the grids on hashtags before I follow. Claudia Santiago is also saying grid. So we're seeing a lot of that. We're seeing a lot of that. Scott, talk to us about application. Like now we know that changing our posting is not statistically going to hurt us at the small business level. So what do we do with that? Does that mean that we just post all willy-nilly whenever, or should we try to stick to a program? What is your analysis from all this?
I mean, I think you should stick to some sort of schedule and be consistent. If you don't have a schedule in place and you're not constantly scheduling content, you'll forget about it. You'll fall off the algorithm, because once people stop touching your content, they're not going to see it anymore. So you want to kind of keep yourself out there. But what it does tell me is if you're posting a lot, let's say you're posting once per day and you want to move to every other day, try it. I don't think, based on this data, that you should see a drop in your reach or your engagement. And so I think it's all about testing and testing and testing, because the algorithms constantly change. There's always something new that pops up. But I think figure out what works best for you, where you can, for one, get good quality content consistently. And if that's once per day, great. If that's 3 times per day, great. But that might be twice a week, and that's okay too. It's just having that. I think the quality of the content is probably the most important part. And in that test, I stuck to the exact same quality of content that I'd posted twice per day as I did once per day. So people following it didn't see a difference. Yeah. If you fall off on that, that's going to be really where it hurts. So find a schedule that works for you. Don't feel like you're going to get hurt, though, if you change drastically, according to our data.
Yeah, and if once per day is something that causes stress, right? I am big on this. Then eliminate it, right? Or I should say revise it, right? Go down to 3 days per week, right? And maybe it's like Monday you post something, Tuesday you go look at other accounts and you comment on stuff, Wednesday you post something, and then Thursday you go look at other accounts and comment and stuff, and then Friday you post again. I guarantee you that searching on Tuesdays and Thursdays and just getting comments will give you ideas that will help you to grow your Instagram page. That's all the time we have for you today, guys. Thanks so much for watching the Social Media Lab Live, and I hope that you'll join us next week for another exciting episode. So type 5 in the comment section. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for watching the Social Media Lab, brought to you by Agorapulse. use science to crack the social media code. Join us live on Facebook and YouTube to find out what's working and what's not working in social media.